And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the San Diego Padres episode, where we'll obviously be talking about the San Diego Padres Mount Rushmore. And speaking of fours, there's only four of us here right now. Drew might join us, may not, who knows. Drew's doing Drew stuff. But that being said, let's get started. Uncle Doug, who is your number 4 member of your Padres Mount Rushmore?
My number 4 is Jake Peavy.
He's also my number 4.
What was my number 4 too?
Oh, all right.
He's my number 3.
Oh, do we have a list for Drew?
No, we don't.
All right, well, he's unanimous for the moment.
That's right. Well, sorry, Drew, but won a Cy Young when it was with the Padres. Got the Triple Crown, 2 ERA titles, I believe 2 strikeout titles, 92 wins, 3.29 ERA, and over 1,300 strikeouts. He had a pretty good stretch when he was in San Diego.
He did indeed.
And so All-Star a couple times in there, and actually number 7 in the MVP voting the year he won the Cy Young. I mean, 19-6 with a 2.54 ERA that year.
I mean, he was a Padre for 8 years and 4, so half of the time he was there, he had an ERA in the 2s.
Yeah. So,
yeah. I always kind of liked Jake Peavy when he was with the Padres, and he did end up in Boston and won a World Series with us, so that made it a little more interesting for me anyway.
Not the most mainstream franchise either. It kind of gets forgotten in the dust sometimes.
yeah.
They've pretty much been a cellar dweller for a majority of my lifetime.
Well, when I think of the Padres, I think of one player, which I'm sure we'll get to. And so it's like, I mean, these other guys I know really well, but I don't always think about them so much with the Padres as the one guy.
Right.
Like you say, Jake went on to the Red Sox, won a title. One of the other guys on my list went someplace else and did well. And it's like, okay.
Right. Very true. Well, anybody else have anything to add on old Jake Peavy before we move on?
Yeah.
No. All right. Was that your 4, Wade?
Yeah.
And Ray, that was your 3, right?
Yep.
So you have a 4 left.
Yeah.
So who is your 4?
I got Trevor Hoffman.
He's my number 2.
That's my number 3.
That's my number 2.
All right.
Okay.
Didn't we have Hoffman as our second greatest closer of all time in our closer
I
episode?
believe so. Because he has the second most saves all time, 601.
Right. He retired with number 1,
Yeah.
but Rivera passed him after that.
So,
I saw that he has the second highest closing percentage ever. So, like, out of all the games he was sent out to close, he has the second highest. He succeeded the second highest rate ever, and the person in front of him is Mariano Rivera, and they're actually only separated by like less than 1 percentage point. So he was actually almost equally as effective as Mariano Rivera at closing out at save opportunities.
well, and got a couple of Rolade Relief Awards, and he also came in second in the Cy Young voting a couple times, which for a relief pitcher is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
And he's a Hall of Famer.
oh yeah. I think it's kind of neat that it's very rare when you can look at like a ranking a position and you know pretty much everyone knows who the first and second greatest of all time is. And I think Rivera and Hoffman are easily the 2 greatest closers of all time. The only other instance in the 3 major sports I can really think about that is like almost everyone will tell you Jordan and Kobe are the 2 greatest shooting guards ever. There's a lot of other debates with other stuff, I feel like, but I think he's a pretty easy pick.
Yeah. I am my computer won't do anything. I'm just sitting over here just
Okay. His career ERA is 2.87. 61 wins, 75 losses in a 28 WAR. Let's see here.
You see a 28 WAR.
Yeah, 28. Let's see, what else can I find? 2 years in Milwaukee, 1 year in Florida.
I think the thing that's most awesome about Hoffman is, I mean, we just kind of mentioned it. He played for a crap franchise.
Yeah.
And is second all time in saves. What if he played for the Yankees?
Right.
You know, a franchise that won 90 games a year for 2 decades.
He was in the postseason every year.
Yeah.
Of his career. Thought that if he played his whole career for the Yankees and Rivera was a Padre, would Hoffman be considered the greatest closer ever?
That's very true.
There's a lot to be said for where you end up playing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Run support and winning ball games as a pitcher is something that's very important to your legacy, but it's not something you really control,
Right.
Yeah.
you know? So it'd be like if we held, you know, I mean, like, I guess it's kind of similar, but we differentiate it so much in football. Like, you know, if a quarterback goes out and throws 30, throws, you know, and score, you know, puts up 35 points, but his defense gives up 42, we blame the defense for the loss.
Right.
But we don't give them wins and losses. Quarterbacks, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean the team gets them obviously for a record, but we don't actually assign wins and losses to the quarterback position like we do pitchers. So it's an interesting thing. And you know, your team has to be winning in order for you to have a save opportunity.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't win any games, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Well, does anybody else have anything to add on old Trevor Hoffman before we move on?
Yeah.
All right. Nobody has a 4 left, correct?
Nope.
Nope.
And that was your number. You've got a 3 off the board, right?
Yeah, I got a 3 and a 4 off the board.
Does anybody else have a 3
My
off the
three's
board?
off the board too.
I have a 3.
All right. Willer, who's your 3?
Dave Winfield.
He's also mine.
That's my number 2.
That's my number 2.
There we go. We're all right in line here.
Oh yeah. Winfield was drafted by the Padres, I believe. That's where he started his career. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, sorry. While with the Padres, he batted .284 with a .357 on base and a .464 slug, with 154 home runs and 626 RBIs. As a Padre, he made 4 All-Star games, won 2 Gold Gloves before he left to join the Yankees. He is a Hall of Famer. And I think he went in as a Padre. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he went in as a Padre. So yeah, I feel like with a franchise like San Diego, if you have a Hall of Famer on the team, he that played for your team for a little while, he's probably going to make the Mount Rushmore. And Dave Winfield was a great player for quite a while.
No, he was.
Does San Diego have any World Series wins?
They've made it twice and lost both times. Yes, Dave Winfield went in as a Padre.
So yeah. Where all did he play besides there in the Yankees? Is that it, or did he go somewhere else?
No, he played for the Angels and the Twins and Cleveland.
Okay. I get you.
I don't know. This is something that like drives me up the wall. Is that nobody knows this? Like, seems like nobody. I didn't know it until I watched a 30 for 30 on it. But like, it's not common knowledge amongst baseball fans. Steinbrenner was banned from baseball for can't remember the exact time. Was it a couple
There
years,
was-
3 years?
Yeah, there was a time period there.
Because he hired a hitman to kill Dave Winfield.
Oh, I didn't remember that part. I remember him being banned. I didn't remember what it was for.
What?
Yes.
What a fucking gangster.
Jeez.
My God. Doesn't anybody have any healthy hobbies anymore? Like,
I
I
was
mean,
gonna
at least
say.
Wade goes to the gym.
Yeah.
We got one owner, having a fucking massage parlor with some hookers, and you got another guy throwing at a hit on somebody on a player. I mean, come on, people.
So why do you want to kill Dave Winfield?
I think it had something to do with it started with like a contract negotiation and then like led to them like getting into it and like Dave Winfield like threatened to smack shit out of him or something and
He went straight to killing him. Huh?
I mean was he gonna fight Dave Winfield like
Well, we don't have to fight him, but killing him's an extreme.
Yeah. A
I
little
don't know.
over the top, but
It's not more popular news, or I guess not news. Like, how is this not more common knowledge?
yeah.
That's nuts.
Well, how did he not end up in prison?
Yeah,
Hey, you hire a hitman, you ought to be going to jail.
yeah. It's like a. I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
if I can get like my computer to even work just a little bit we might I might be able to pull something up.
This should be like
Greatest scandals in baseball history.
that should be like a Seinfeld episode if they ever reboot. Costanza, get in here! Costanza! I need you to put a hit on somebody.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's not what I thought you were gonna say when you brought that up.
No.
Tried to kill Dave Winfield.
No, Steinbrenner was also part of Watergate, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Well-rounded man.
Okay, so here's what it says. The relationship between Steinbrenner and Winfield soured almost from the beginning. Steinbrenner made Winfield the highest paid player in baseball history and signed the outfielder to a 10-year deal as a free agent in 1980 when the 29-year-old was already a four-time All-Star. Sliding. Oh, I guess at the last second, this is what it says here. At the last second, Winfield and his agent made changes to the contract but didn't tell Steinbrenner.
Mm.
And Steinbrenner signed the contract because he thought it was the same contract, which included raises over the course of the contract.
Mm.
That is a shitty move. Well, I guess you should probably read it before you sign it. But,
Yeah,
Well,
Steinbrenner.
if he's not, his lawyer should.
So
yeah, someone should.
So
Yeah.
then Steinbrenner said publicly in a press conference, I let Mr. October get away from Mr. May,
Ooh.
which then pissed Dave Winfield off. Steinbrenner tried to trade Winfield, but could not because of the 10-5 rule, which was already in place by then. So he had veto rights over trades.
Oh.
That rule's still in place today. Then Steinbrenner tried to sue the Winfield Foundation, which I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure it's a charity that is in Winfield's name, like a lot of players have. And then Winfield sued Steinbrenner for failure to pay the foundation, pay the foundation money that was in his contract. So now they've both sued each other.
Oh my God.
Then it says, then in 1990, the Yankees owner paid $40,000 to a gambler to pick up dirt on the Winfield Foundation or Winfield himself.
Sound like a couple of petty bitches fighting over a guy.
And then it says that Dave Winfield. Then he found out that Dave Winfield owed a bookie $100,000, and then was able to prove that Winfield was using foundation money to make bets and to do things for his girlfriend, which was obviously not legal. And then the guy that Steinbrenner paid, the gambler guy that he paid, got charged with extortion.
Oh, what a class act.
Yeah, this is quite the story.
Oh, this just keeps going.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know. This probably isn't great podcasting, but anyway, I'll get off of this. But
Yeah, go find it yourself, listeners. Go research the rest. We're over it.
anyway, so I only have one guy left. Does anybody have more than one guy left?
Nope, one guy.
I got
So-
one.
So we're all looking at Tony Gwynn.
Tony
Yeah.
Gwynn.
I hope.
Yeah.
Uh,
So is that a perfect night? 4 for 4?
yeah, as long as Drew doesn't come in and screw
Oh
up.
God, yeah. Tell him to come next.
Well, I mean,
episode.
we're already at the finish line of this section of the
Yeah.
episode.
We'll
He,
just say, sorry, Drew.
he can just come in and do MVP if he comes in.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn is a Hall of Famer, 15-time All-Star. He has 5 Gold Gloves, 7 Silver Sluggers, and 8 batting titles. He played for the Padres for 20 years. He also led the league in runs once, led the league in hits 7 times. He also led the league in on-base percentage once. And to go along with the 8 batting titles, like I mentioned before. Tony Gwynn's a guy that we've talked about on this podcast a lot. He comes
Oh,
up
yeah.
even in just comments a lot about. I think just a couple episodes ago we talked about somebody like, why didn't they have more batting titles? And we were like, oh, he played at the same time as Boggs and Gwynn, and I was like, yeah. Okay.
Well, it was kind of neat. I was reading through some of this stuff. Played for 20 years, and the only year he didn't bat 300 was his rookie year.
Yeah.
He batted 289 that year, and every other year he was over 300.
Yeah, his last year in the league, year 20, at 41 years old, he had 324.
Yeah.
Damn.
I do have a question though. He's got 8 batting titles and 7 Silver Sluggers. How does that work? Because Silver Slugger is supposed to be the highest batting average.
Is
at
that what it is?
position,
I
isn't
thought
it?
it was just the best hitter. I didn't think it was necessarily the highest batting average.
maybe it is. Then that would explain it.
Because then you could have had a guy. I mean, he played right field, so like,
Probably a guy hit like 45 home runs or something.
yeah,
Took his silver
Okay,
slugger.
that could be.
or it could be one. It could be one of those big bond, like a big Bond season.
Yeah.
That took away a Silver Slugger, or when he won the batting title or whatever. Because I mean, not that Gwynn was asked to, but I mean, he never hit a bunch of home runs. Most of his career was in single digits, so it's not like he was providing a big power pop for you.
I just always found it kind of funny, like how fat he got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he just kept getting a little chunkier as time went on to the point when he was just fat as hell out there batting 320. More power to him.
But yeah, no, I think I said that. I don't know. It's probably been a little while ago. I said I rewatched the All-Star game at Fenway, and I was like, all these guys are so jacked, and then you got Tony Gwynn's fat ass walking.
Yeah. I definitely think it's safe to say he probably wasn't roiding.
No, well, and they list him at 5'11", 185, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
That was Tony Gwynn that used to steal bases.
Right, that was Tony
Yeah.
Gwynn when he first came in the league.
Yeah.
That Tony Gwynn ate Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, yeah, because he was way over 185 by the time it was over.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So speaking of the home run derby, how did the new rules work out?
I didn't watch it for the first time in quite some time, but I heard it was really exciting, actually.
Was it?
That's what I heard. So, yeah. Well, guys, I'm pretty thrilled with a perfect week. This is our
Yeah.
first perfect week in baseball this time around.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
I know we had a decent amount in football. I feel like we had a couple there in basketball during our all-time starting lineups, but I feel like this is maybe our first in baseball.
It might be. I honestly, I just can't remember.
Fair enough. So as for the listeners, that would make our final four for our Mount Rushmore as follows: Tony Gwynn, Trevor Hoffman, Dave Winfield, and Jake Peavy. And so that will take us out of Mount Rushmore talk and into MVP discussion. And we don't have a year.
I'm working on it.
Let's
Okay.
It's
see.
like 2001.
Have we done 2001?
Let me
I wrote-
look.
That's a Bonds year, isn't it?
Okay, let's do. I don't know. Let's move it.
I
up
got
then.
04, 64, 87, 2012, 88, 77, 2017, 21, 1993, 1970, 66, 2000, 56, 2002. And I feel I'm missing some.
Yeah, if we've already did 02, let's just bump it up to 2009.
2009 sounds like a
Okay.
good year. By the way, normally we don't just do this. Normally we have a random generator, but Drew usually does it, and the rest of us forgot. So we will do the 2009 MVP race here.
2009. Huh.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm pulling it up. Looks like a Joe Mauer in the American League.
Hmm.
Yeah, Joe Mauer's MVP here. This ought to be interesting. A catcher. Joe Mauer beat out Mark Teixeira and Derek Jeter to round out the top three, two Yankees. But anyway, Joe Mauer had scored 94 runs, had 191 hits, hit 28 home runs, 96 RBIs, stole 4 bases, had 76 walks. He led the league in all of the following: 365, 444, 587 for a 1031 OPS.
Hmm.
He led the league in all of those,
That's a catcher.
but none of the counting stats. Yes, as a catcher. Good point, Wade. Mark Teixeira came in second place, and he scored 103 runs at 178 hits, led the league in home runs and RBIs with 39 and 122. Had 81 walks, hit 292, 383, 565 for a 948 OPS. Wow. Wait, Mauer even outslugged him. I mean, I guess that's a guarantee since.
He led the league with 39 home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, hitting 39 home runs in a season is a great year for someone, but that's usually just not a league leader, you know.
I mean, we're
39.
just what, six years from 73?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I mean, there's
yeah. Must have been a pretty good year for hitters because you've got he led the league with 365. Jeter had 334. Cabrera had 324. Suzuki had 352. There's if I can get the ads off here.
Michael Young hit 322.
Cano was 320. There's some guys had some pretty decent hitting seasons, average wise anyway. Like you said, the
Yeah.
home runs only 39 is not crazy, but
that's a lot high batting averages though.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Jeter's in third, like I mentioned. He scored 107 runs, 212 hits, 18 home runs, 66 RBIs. He stole 30 bases, walked 72 times, hit 334, 406, 465 for an 871 slug, or 871 OPS, sorry.
Kind of sounds like he just had a shittier version of Mauer's season.
Yeah, other than stolen bases, yeah.
Yeah. And we all know, even though he might have won a Gold Glove that year, he was probably one of the worst defensive shortstops in the league.
I wonder what Mauer got that year. You think Mauer got a Gold Glove that year?
Did he win a couple?
I feel like he did.
Yeah, so did I. I feel like he did too. I feel like he at least got a few. Mauer was the man there.
we're talking about 08 or no 09.
09, yeah.
Gold Glove and Silver Slugger.
There
Right.
you go.
Yep.
Who else do we want to look at?
Anybody that's jumping off the page? How's Cano's stats looking that year?
Cano had 103 runs, 204 hits, 25 home runs, 85 RBIs, 320, 352, 520 for an 871 OPS.
Who was the other one they did? Miggy.
Oh, yeah, Miggy. 96 runs, 198 hits, 34 home runs, 103 RBIs, 68 walks, 324, 396, 547 for a 942.
Crazy part is he did that for like 12, 13 years straight.
Yeah.
He was a machine. Well, I mean,
Who's the hits leader? Oh, it's Ichiro. 225 hits at 352.
what are his other numbers?
88 runs, 11 home runs, 46 RBIs, 26 stolen bases, 352, 386, 465 for an 851.
Wait, so he batted over 350 and his on base was 380.
Yeah, he only walked 32 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit less than half of Mauer's walks.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. It's an interesting year with the way a lot of high batting averages, not a lot of power. It seemed like that was generated. Not a lot of guys with huge RBI totals. I think with Mauer being a catcher and winning the batting title and having the highest on base percentage and slugging percentage and OPS and won a Gold Glove and Silver Slugger, and I'm pretty sure that is his like greatest all around year as far as home runs and RBIs go, if I remember correctly with Mauer. I don't think he was a huge home run guy. I think that 20-something is his career high, if I remember. Again, this is off the top of my head, but
Yeah, he hit 28 that year, by the way. Looking at his career.
I think the year before was pretty good too.
According to this, he never hit in the 20s again after this.
Yeah,
or
so
before. It was the only year in the 20s, and he had 28.
I mean, he might have had a good run in there where he was a dominant.
I mean, he
catcher
won
there
3
for a
batting titles. He was always hitting a high
Yeah.
average.
So he might have had a crazy year the year before, but he just might have hit very much power. But I think Mauer's kind of. I think Mauer's the guy.
Well, just for acts of fairness, I do want to talk about a couple pitchers.
Okay.
Zach Greinke, who's pitching for Kansas City at this point, went 16-8 with a 2.16 ERA in 33 starts, 229 innings, and struck out 242 batters.
It's a nice ass ERA.
It is a very nice season, really. I mean,
yeah.
pretty much 250 strikeouts, more strikeouts than innings, 2.16 ERA. He led the league in WAR. Justin Verlander went 19-9, and the 19 led the league with a 3.45 ERA and 35 starts. He threw 240 innings, which led the league, and had 269 strikeouts, which also led the league. 3.45 is not something I give MVPs out for a pitcher.
Yeah, even though some of the counting stats and like wins were better. I mean, a 2.1 ERA is elite stuff. So I mean, that ERA difference between those two guys is quite large, actually.
Yeah.
Greinke's season was
Actually, the
very
top
nice.
pitcher in the MVP voting that year was Mariano Rivera, who went 3-3 with a 1.76 ERA and 66 games. He had 44 saves through 66 innings and had 72 strikeouts.
Does anyone else find it ridiculous when they almost get the Cy Young to a closer?
Yes. Well, I
Or
mean,
they actually have done
Gagne
it?
did it. Gagne won the Cy Young.
Didn't they give one to Eckersley?
Well, Eckersley won it, but I think it was as a starter.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Well, like we were talking
Yeah.
about Trevor Hoffman. He came in twice, twice in the Cy Young.
Second in the
Yeah,
Cy Young.
second. Sorry.
Twice in the
I'm
Cy
like,
Young.
twice. Too many twos there.
I mean, even that, I don't know. they're coming in to pitch an inning once every 3 or 4 games. Like I know Rivera and Hoffman and Eckersley and some of the other closers we've talked about. They do have an important role to play, and they were very helpful to their teams. And I mean, without Rivera, the Yankees probably don't win all those championships in the
Right.
90s. I'm not trying to say they're not valuable, but I just have a hard time getting there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, I do.
They're clear. I mean, you said Rivera pitched, what, 60 innings that season?
Yeah, 66 innings. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, we got guys
Get outta
throwing
here.
200 more innings, almost 200 more innings than that.
yeah. It's just, I don't know. This doesn't have to become a giant topic. That just kind of bugs me, I guess. When some of these closers get MVP consideration or even Cy Young consideration sometimes.
Well, I do like the boards, gentlemen, but would I be incorrect in saying that we all just kind of think Mauer should keep his MVP?
Yep.
I think Mauer.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Mauer was the MVP this season.
For sure.
I mean, even Teixeira, who led the league in the power numbers, like home runs and RBIs, he didn't have like a ridiculous number. You know,
Yeah.
if he would have hit, 55 home runs, this would have been a lot more interesting conversation.
Mauer's an average. I mean, this is his career high in home runs, but he's led the league in on-base percentage and average and slugging percentage and OPS, and he was only 10 or 11 home runs off the leader in home runs.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
I agree.
that's what it is.
All right, well, guys, listeners, I feel like this was kind of an anticlimactic episode for you guys. We were unanimous on our
Still
team.
got the
and-
National League to go.
Oh yeah, well, thank you, Uncle Doug. I almost completely jumped over the National League.
Yeah, you're not going to skip the National League on me. It's Albert.
Yes. Oh, is it? Albert
Yeah.
Pujols won the MVP. This is still Cardinals Pujols. He scored 124 runs, which led the league. Had 186 hits. He also led the league with 47 home runs. He had 135 RBIs. Stole 16 bags. That's a little surprising. Had 115 walks. He hit 327, 443, 658 for an 1101 OPS. He led the league in on-base, slugging, and OPS.
And home
As
runs.
well as home runs and runs.
And WAR.
And WAR.
Out of
Yeah.
the first baseman.
You know what that sounds like to me?
MVP.
The MVP.
MVP. Yep.
I mean, we've talked about before how his first 10 years in the league, well, pretty much his entire time with the Cardinals is just kind of otherworldly. He was a monster.
I haven't seen anybody where I think I would give my vote to over Pujols, but I do want to give some recognition to some guys because there are some guys on here with some really nice stat lines.
Go for it.
Hanley Ramirez came in second this year. He won the batting title, hitting 342. But he scored 101 runs. He had 197 hits. He had 24 home runs, 106 RBIs, 27 stolen bases. He had 342, 410, 543 for a 954 OPS. Ryan Howard scored 105 runs, 172 hits. He hit 45 home runs. Led the league with 141 RBIs. Went 279, 360, 571 for a 931 OPS. Although he came in higher in the voting, I think the next guy, Prince Fielder, may have had a slightly better season. He had 103 runs, 177 hits. He hit 46 home runs. Also had 141 RBIs, a tie for the league lead. He had 110 walks. He hit 299, 412, 602 for a 1014 OPS.
You know what the crazy part is about those guys you just named off? Prince Fielder was well on his way to being a Hall of Fame guy.
Yep.
I think he was easily going to be a Hall of Famer. And then he got some, was it disease or condition or something? Like
He
his
did
heart.
something. I thought it was his back, man.
I thought he had like a heart thing or, I don't know. He got
But it was a
some-
health issue that ended
Yeah,
it.
in his career.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard had this amazing little peak run where he was leading the league in home runs, and I think he won an MVP or two, and he was just smashing his way
Yeah,
through
he
the
did
league.
win an MVP, yeah.
He had a couple like 50 home run seasons and 40, and had like 140, 50 RBI seasons. But his career, he had a late start to his career, and then his career kind of just petered off real
I
quick.
don't think he got called up until he was like 27.
Yeah. So like it was a very short window. Hanley Ramirez burst onto the scene, was like the next young great. He burst onto the scene as a shortstop, correct?
Who?
Hanley Ramirez.
Yeah.
And then he had a few amazing years, and then he kind of just fell off out of nowhere, and we didn't really hear from him too much. Like, 'cause he signed with you all at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, he came back because we traded him to the Marlins,
Yeah.
and that's where he blew up with the Marlins. Had like 2 or 3 30 seasons,
Yeah.
and like it was like the best player
But
on their
then-
team.
And then just kind of took a poop at a certain point, and his career was just kind of over. Like, you were just naming through those guys, and that's just all their careers kind of just dropped off, and they're just, there was so much greatness for a short period of time, and then for kind of different reasons or another, things just didn't quite work out. They didn't end up on the trajectory that they were supposed to be on for one reason or another, and it was, I don't know,
Pablo Sandoval hit 330 this season.
Pablo Sandoval. I
Um,
forget. about
Ryan
him.
Braun hit 320, led the league in hits, 203.
This was the year of the batting average again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Adrian Gonzalez hit 40 home runs, led the league in walks with 119.
I considered him for our Mount Rushmore.
I did as well.
Yeah,
It's
me
it's
too.
it's the length. The length of time is like 4 years.
Yeah.
Um,
He has a very underrated career, I think. He has a pretty nice overall career.
he's another guy that kind of like petered out fast. Like I don't know that it was injuries. He just wasn't the same player after a while.
I'm trying to think. Did he go Padres,
Red Sox.
Red Sox, Dodgers?
Was
that
there a
how it
stop
went?
in between there?
I don't remember.
I
So
know.
I remember him playing with you all.
Yeah, we traded him to the Dodgers. Yeah,
So he went to the Dodgers
Yeah.
after you all? Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
because he was part of the. It was Gonzalez, Beckett, and Crawford. We traded
Mhm.
out there. Yeah.
I think he ended up putting together a pretty solid career stat line. Like, it was pretty nice. Little, not quite Hall of Fame worthy, but a nice career stat line. I don't know if we're getting sidetracked. But
No, I just pulled him up since you were talking about him. I mean, he's got 5 All-Stars, 4 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers. That's playing in the same conference as Pujols and Fielder and Howard. So I feel like that's a decent accomplishment. His career numbers, he's 287, 358, 485 for an 843 OPS. So I mean, that's pretty
Decent.
solid.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
He has a little over 2,000 hits,
It's good.
317 home runs, just below like 997 on runs, like pretty much 1,000
that
runs,
sucks.
1,200 RBIs. His WAR is 43.
I mean, when you get over 2,000 hits, over 1,200 RBIs, over 300 home runs, I mean, that's a pretty good
Yeah.
career. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. That's, he shouldn't get in the Hall of Fame, but
No,
good
he's not a
career.
Hall of Famer, but yeah, if he would have continued his San Diego numbers for another,
Didn't-
5, 6, 7 years, he might have been.
did he have a couple of nice Boston years? I thought he had at least one or two.
He
good
had one good Boston. Well, he was only with us for a year.
Oh.
But he hit 300 with 15 home runs, 86 RBIs, and led the league in. Or no, he didn't lead the league. I had it in my head that he did, but I thought he led the league in doubles that year, but apparently not. He had 37 of them though.
I got you.
But anyway, just, again, so out of fairness, I want to talk about a couple pitchers. None other than Chris Carpenter, Pujols' teammate, went 17-4 with a 2.24 ERA in 28 games. He threw 192 innings and struck out 144 batters. He led the league in ERA. I don't know if I said that. And then Adam Wainwright, another Pujols teammate, went 19-8, and the 19 led the league with a 2.63 ERA. In 34 games, he threw 233 innings and struck out 212 batters. I don't know who won the Cy Young that year, but let's look.
Did they go to the World Series that year?
No,
Tim
they,
Lincecum won the Cy Young.
they won the division, but I looked it up. They lost to the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
So I just want to talk about this for a second. Obviously, not what we're here to accomplish, but I want to talk about this. Neither one of those guys won the Cy Young. Tim Lincecum won the Cy Young. Well, I'm gonna give you Lincecum stats. See what you guys think. He was 15-7 with a 2.48 ERA. In 32 games, he threw 225 innings and struck out 261 batters. He did lead the league in strikeouts.
Okay.
What do you think about those three?
You have to retell me the Cardinal guys.
17-4 with a 2.24 ERA and 28 starts, 192 innings, 144 strikeouts. That's Carpenter. Wainwright went 19-8 with a 2.63 and 34 games. He threw 233 innings, which led the league, and 212 strikeouts.
I think I would go Carpenter. I'm a big ERA guy. I mean, I think ERA is kind of the name of the game. It's what you're giving up. And didn't he said 2.2?
2.2.
I mean,
he
he
threw-
won 17 games.
He won more games than Lincecum, but less than Wainwright. He had the lowest ERA. They're all in the twos, but the lowest ERA. He did throw the least amount of games and the least amount of innings by quite a bit,
He had the lowest strikeout total, didn't he?
and the lowest strikeout total by a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 120 less strikeouts than Lincecum.
So how many games did he pitch that year?
28.
And he won 17 of them.
Yes.
And how many did Bueno throw?
Waino threw 34, which led the league, and he won 19.
Yeah.
You said he had a 2.6 ERA, and Lincecum had 2.4, right?
Yeah.
And Carpenter was at 2.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I know I'm kind of simplifying it but I mean, I don't know. He won more games than Lincecum. He had the lowest ERA of the three. So
well, didn't he come in first of the three in the MVP voting?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
He went
what I'm
Carpenter, Wainwright, Lincecum in MVP voting, but then Lincecum won the Cy Young, and so it went the exact opposite order in the Cy Young.
Yeah, see, that didn't make any sense to me. Why would it be the exact opposite in the Cy Young? You'd think, I'm like you, I would think Carpenter,
yeah.
I mean, within 2 wins of.
But you want to hear something
Wainwright.
crazy? Wainwright received the most first place votes in Cy Young.
Well, I find it.
I bet he and Carpenter split the vote.
It
That's
is
quite fair.
11, 9, and 12.
Yeah.
They're all three have pretty similar first place votes.
Hmm.
In all reality, all three of them had terrific seasons.
They did.
Yeah.
In their own little way. Like, I wasn't really trying to put down Lincecum at all because his numbers are nice as hell. But led the league in strikeouts, had like he's a 2.6 ERA. I mean, that's a very, very nice season.
Well, they all led the league in something. One of them led the league
Yeah.
in wins. One of them led the league in ERA. One of them led the league in strikeouts. So they split the
Yeah.
Triple Crown, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That is an interesting
That
conversation.
is. Yeah. I think I'm like Wade, though. I think I'd go with Carp.
though. Yeah.
Anyway, back to our MVP. I'm not trying to be anticlimactic, but I think Albert keeps his MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not changing my
Yeah.
vote.
I think it's Alberte.
Well, again, I say that I know we were anticlimactic today. We were unanimous on our Mount Rushmore. Both the guys kept their MVPs pretty staggeringly. Like I don't want to run our episode down, but wasn't a lot of discussion or debate or.
Sometimes you just need a nice, efficient episode.
Padres are just pretty straightforward.
How long
Yeah.
was it? How long is this episode, Ray?
We're about 44.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That works.
All right, fair enough. Well, we appreciate you listening to this San Diego Padres episode, and we would appreciate you tuning in next week for our Arizona Diamondbacks episode, another newer franchise that doesn't have a ton of guys to choose from, but we'll make do.
Go
And-
D-bags. I mean, backs.
And thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.